What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Evening Alpha Show. I am your host, Todd Wanish, founder of Adult Fantasy, the world's greatest comic and animation NFT project on the planet, period, bar none. Trying something different tonight. We got a little bit of music in the background, so you guys will have to tell me if that's all right. It's kind of groovy and good. You know, it's Friday night. I'm chilling. I'm relaxing. I don't know about you, but I celebrate my Friday nights with Chinese food and, what else? Chinese food and wine and what else? Chinese food, wine, and ice cream. That's the other. I got the wine right here. Just started it too, so it'll be nice. You got to do it on a Friday night. So what's up, everybody? Welcome. We got people pouring in. We got Laulu. What's up, Laulu? How you doing? Hello. Willie D, how you doing? Welcome. Casper, what's up? How you doing? Welcome. Misfit Corner Scams. Awesome. Hey, you like the music? Dope. Let me know. Is it? I'm kind of guessing on the volume. It's the first time I'm trying it, so let me know if that if it's at a good volume or if it needs to be louder or quiet. Give me some feedback on that. As long as you can hear it okay though too, right? Because I have it muted on my computer, so I want to make sure that you guys hear it okay. Misfit says Friday nights is for hanging out with friends on live streams. Absolutely, man. That's what it's about. It's Friday, dude. It's time to chill. It's time to relax. We got some good stuff coming up today, man. A lot of stuff happening. If you don't know, before we jump into the news and before we jump into all the stuff happening in the NFT space, if you don't know who I am or why the hell you should listen to me or why the hell I have all these comics in the background or why I even have this picture of Stan Lee like right over here over my shoulder. My name's Todd. I'm a 26-year veteran of the comic and animation industry. Been around the block a little bit, directed over 150 animated commercials for Cartoon Network, worked at Marvel for a long time, invented pilots and intellectual property and branding for all these big companies. And we have an NFT project called Adult Fantasy where the fans are in charge. We are creating what we believe to be the next great cinematic universe, the next great comic cinematic universe. And we're here to flip Disney. We're here to flip Marvel. We're going to do it. It's like a big, you think, hey, that's a really big thing to chew on. It's like, not really. I mean, the model's there and the methodology is there and I worked there. It's a basic formula, but it's one that works when you actually apply it correctly. We don't think it's being applied correctly, especially not by the Marvels and the Disneys and the DCs anymore. So what we've decided to do is take our shot at creating the next best thing, right? It's time for the fans to create, and it's time for the fans to get rewarded, and it's time for the fans to own what it is that they create. So if that sounds cool, if you're interested in helping to create the next Batman, the next Spider-Man, the next Iron Man, the next Avengers, or whatever, hop over to Adult Fantasy, check us out. We're here for you. We're working on this together. Casper says, that's fire. That's some fire portfolio, Todd. Thank you, man. Yeah, I earned every gray hair. I earned every single gray hair, man. It's been a blast. I'm full of stories. Feel free to ask anything. You got a question, man. If you're here, we're family. So straight up, if you have a question about anything, if it involves comics, animation, NFTs, ask away. I'm an open book, man. I love helping people, and I sure as hell have some old stories kicking around. So, that's it. So, content for tonight. It's been an interesting week in the NFT space. There's been, Discord got hacked, and even Bored Ape Yacht Club's Discord got hacked. Like everybody got hacked. Today of course was April Fool's Day, so there was a lot of that going around. I think we did a pretty good one. Got to check Twitter for that. I put some effort. I put probably more effort into ours today than I probably should have. But you tell me what you think. Hit it up on Twitter and you can check it out. It's a crazy week. Like it's interesting because it seems like a lot of projects some projects are staying steady and some projects are taking off and some projects are tanking. And that's, believe it or not, that's a healthy market. When when everything is bull run and everything goes up, that's in the short term, it's a good sign, but long term, it's not that great because it's temporary, right? Same thing with the bear market. When the bears come in NFTs, it's like once a month. When it comes in and everything tanks, that sucks too, obviously, but it's just a short-term thing. We're in a really, as far as I can tell, man, we're in a really good position right now in the space where market forces are acting like market forces should, where projects are, as long as the project is grinding, they're steady. You know what I mean? And that's pretty good. That's really a good place to be. So we're going to look at a few things tonight, the least of which is something that Adult Fantasy actually addresses with our NFT and our project. It's really fascinating. We got a couple things that directly affect us, or at least were the inspiration for what we created. We just happen to have, been about a year ahead of everything that, everything that people are talking about now. We kind of figured out last year, which is, humbling and a little bit validating. I got to be honest. It's a little validating to see people, very smart people, now talk about things that our team was talking about last March. It's pretty cool, actually. So real quick, let's hop into a story and we'll start something. Let's check it out. So first things first, DC Comics is launching their own NFT. And so I bounced this around. I wasn't really sure if I wanted to share this or not, because I tend to not like, I don't really like knocking other people's projects, right? Period. But if it's a giant corporation, especially one that we're talking about, maybe trying to take over one day or surpass, I think it's okay. I think it's fair game to talk about. So we're going to read this really quick, and then we're going to look at what they did, and we're going to talk about it, and then we'll jump into the mid-tier NFT issue. So DC Comics believes Batman NFT drop will be a watershed moment. Looks like 2022 is going to be a special year for all Batman fans. On the heels of the brand's latest film, The Batman, DC has announced the drop of 200,000 unique 3D rendered Bat Cowl NFTs that will go on sale starting April 26th. The Bat Cowl is a unique Batman-inspired digital art collection featuring multiple bat head pieces that are important to the superhero's 83-year-old history. We're going to discuss that. We'll see about that. Each NFT in the Bat Cowl collection will cost buyers $300 and can only be purchased from DC's official NFT marketplace. Now look. So first off, we're going to look at what these cowls look like. And I've been a Batman fan a long time, and I don't remember these headpieces being important to the superhero's 83-year-old history. Maybe those are the rare ones, but boy, these are stinkers. Hey, Studio, what's up? Studio just hopped in. Let me go over here, give you a shout out. What's up, man? How are you? Who has a calculator? I need a calculator, because if I do it, my computer slows down. So what is 300 times 200,000? Can someone do that for me? Do I have to do it myself? Hold on, Cal. Let's see if I can do it without the computer slowing down. 200,000 times 300. What a fucking cash grab. Cool. So DC Comics is dropping 200,000 cowls for $300 to try and net $60 million in revenue. $60 million. 60. Dusty, what's up, man? How are you doing? 20 mil. Nope. 60. Wait, I don't know. Yeah. Math is hard, dude. $60 million, dude, for 200,000. Okay. We're going to come back and talk about this because people think I'm joking about just flipping Marvel or flipping Disney, flipping DC, dude. Like, come on. Okay. So they're going to $300. I can't even, it's just ridiculous. In order to provide its fans with a hassle-free NFT experience, DC has partnered with Palm. So Palm is great. Palm did Henny did the Damien Hirst launch, and that was Palm network as well, right? So Palm is fine. I think there were some porting issues to be able to transfer it to like OpenSea so you can sell it. I could be wrong. They might have updated that by now. But Palm is well respected. The studio claims to facilitate the NFT sales process with a low gas cost and fast transaction facility. Great. Although the Batcowl tokens are the first official Batman NFT, they are not the first non-fungible tokens from DC. Yada, yada, yada. They did a bunch of shit before. They're doing a lot of stuff, actually. They did a spinning floppy disk NFT that were given for free. And recently they launched trading card NFTs in association with, I guess, Hero. Those look okay. Again, they didn't do anything special with it. The NFTs are literally cards that get digitally opened in a pack. So as far as I could tell, but that's my own personal opinion. Moreover, DC's parent company, Warner Media, is already making big leaps in the NFT space with music and movie related stuff, yada, yada, yada. What does the arrival of Batman in the NFT world mean? Since Batman is such a powerful pop culture phenomenon, the release of the Batcowl. Now remember, just so you know, we're going to look at this. The Batcowl is just the headpiece. So it's just the helmet, just the mask. $60 million for 200,000 pieces, just the mask. Okay. Just making sure we're clear on this. The Batcowl NFTs from DC is pretty significant. One can imagine the popularity of the Cape Crusader from the fact that to this date, the latest Batman movie has earned more than $650 million. That's great. The arrival of superhero like Batman in the NFT space is a strong sign of the growing influence and acceptance of NFTs in the mainstream media. Or it's a recognition that there's money to be made and a sucker is born every minute, and they're trying to conflate the popularity of Batman the character with people bum rushing to get an NFT, which probably won't happen. Plus, this is likely to increase the interaction of comic book fans and artists with NFTs. Maybe. That's a possibility for sure. Palm's studio chief content officer said this drop represents a watershed moment for NFTs. I don't know. More like a, okay, we're gonna, I'll save my comments. Oh boy, DC. According to DC, the Batcowl collection is more than just digital collectibles. They're gonna, they plan to integrate the NFTs into future DC comic stories. Oh boy. And aiming to expand utility for Batcowl holders every 52 days in areas such as augmented reality, metaverse integration, and expanded wallet capabilities. Moreover, the Bat NFT will enable fans to participate in the DC universe with their unique identities and earn rewards. Buyers will also get access to the DC Universe fan forum, private online space, basically Discord, but maybe a proprietary thing that they own, something like that. Let's see what Jim Lee had to say. So when talking about the design of the Batcowl NFTs, Jim Lee, Chief Creative Officer at DC. If you guys don't know who Jim Lee is a legend in comics. He's an incredibly gifted artist. The guy is just a beast. He's been DC's Chief Creative Officer for a long time. Humble opinion, much better artist than Chief Creative Officer. But like I said, that's just my point there. He says, through the introduction of carefully curated colors, textures, and upgrades, the end results offer a take and taste for every kind of Batman fan out there and serve as powerful ways for all of us to make a timeless icon our very own. They think it's an exciting opportunity for Batman fans across the globe, blah, 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 blah. Confident Batcowl NFTs will bring the superhero and his fans closer than ever. Hey guys, you want to take a look at this? It's gonna, yeah, Dusty, that's right. Dusty says, that's amazing. It will change NFTs forever. Not a money grab at all. That's right. 60 mil, Casper says, 60 fucking milli. Yeah, hey you guys, since this is such a watershed moment for NFTs, you guys want to check out what they're actually dropping? Yeah, let's do that. Oh, that's my next story. That's not what I want to do. Let's do this. All right, let's check this out. I'll mute it because it's all like loud and shit. There we go. Ooh, look at these textures, guys. I'm just gonna let it play. Now look, heed the call. Yeah, heed the call. Here's the deal. I don't want to knock anybody who's picking these up because there's a lot of Batman fans out there and this thing is going to sell. If you had told me, if that article had said that there was going to be 10,000 NFTs, I'd tell you it would sell out in a heartbeat, right? Like I don't think you're going to have a problem selling 10,000, maybe even 20, 25,000, because there are. I mean, it's Batman, right? And it's his first, like, I guess it's the first official NFT. But 200,000, I don't know if somebody needs to tell the executives at DC what happens to a project if it doesn't sell out. Because at $300 each, so look at these textures. This is not, they talk about, what was it they said? Important to the superhero's 83-year-old history. I don't really remember a shiny pink helmet with spirals on it. Like, this just looks awful. Like, the textures don't even look that good to me. I mean, there's the wood Batman cover. You remember the wood helmet that Batman had? Yeah, me neither. I don't know what that is. Like, these are just bad, dude. Like, this is Warner Media, guys. This is a major, like, this company has billions of dollars. I know they're not, like, come on. Like, look at that. I mean, again, I'm really trying hard not to slam, I don't want to slam the artist who created this, and I do not want to slam the fans who are going to buy it, because people will buy this. I think if you want to buy it for the fun of it or because you love Batman, God bless you, man. But as an NFT collector and a founder of an NFT project whose entire team is like bleeding to make the best thing we possibly can, this is shit. This is straight trash. This is just somebody that doesn't get it. Like, this, come on. Am I wrong? Like, this is just this looks like an executive meeting where they said, yeah, NFTs, you just shuffle the colors around and people buy it. Look, hey, there's rarity, and the real costumes will be the rare ones, and then the rest can be just like random textures, and people buy it and they'll be really happy with it. Bro, if I got these, if I ended up with any of these, if I paid $300 and I minted this, I'm just gonna go full screen so you guys can see this. If I paid $300 for this one, I'd be so mad, dude. I'd be so mad. I mean, they're just not good. Am I wrong? What do you guys think? Leave a message in chat. Let me know what you think. And if you're watching this not live, like, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Like, I could be crazy, but I've been doing this a while, and it just makes me sad. But this is also why, like, I'm so excited about the projects that we're doing, because these people do not get it. Come on. They just don't get it, man. They just don't get it. Let's see some more of this. It really looks like they just paid a freelancer and that guy just didn't care. Like, the artist is, I'm sure, talented, but did not get paid enough for this. You can give me a bright pinkish, purplish Batman helmet that's going to put the fear in the heart of evildoers. Come on, dude. All right, let's see. Give me some more. Is that it? Did I finally get through it? Oh, my God. Yeah. So, again, if this was your project, right? If this was anybody's regular project, if I saw this on Twitter and it was a new project by fans or an independent company, an independent project, and it looked like that, it would be no problem, right? The problem with this is that this is a multinational, multi-billion dollar, bragging about making $650 million at the box office company, trying to charge you $300 for 200,000 of these things, and it looks like absolute crap. And they're talking about be a watershed moment, Leon, maybe like Watership Down, dude. Like, this is awful. What do you guys think? Let's see what you guys think. Let me scroll up here. We got an image here. Dusty says, it's painfully obvious that they don't get it, right? Like it really, you can see the meeting. You can see like the executive being like, guys, NFTs, people eat this shit up. You just like, we can take the bat helmet and it won't cost us much. And you just throw a bunch of textures and colors on there. And like the more rare the color or the texture, the more valuable it is. And they're like, how much is it going to cost us? We can have a freelancer do it for like $2,000. Great. How much can we make? 60 million. That's fantastic. Green lit. Like it's, oh my God. I've been in that meeting. You know what I mean? Like it's just painful. Willie D says 200,000 random reskins. Yeah, exactly. Right. Again, if this was an indie project, I still, it wouldn't be for me, but I wouldn't be shitting on it. You know what I mean? But you're trying to rape people with this, man. You're just trying to money grab and steal money from people. And Jim Lee should be ashamed. Too bland, Casper says. Yeah, right? Like, it's just, it almost, I'm telling you, man, like if just to be completely honest, dude, if I saw this in my feed, come on, look at these textures, dude. If I saw this in my feed, you're going to give me a wood Batman helmet, bro. Like, okay. If I saw this in my feed, my first instinct would be that it was a rug project. That's just being real. You're going to give me that as a Batman helmet? I'm like, that's a rug project. You know what I mean? It doesn't even look good. Yeah. Come on. Hey, look, you want the teal speckle brown marble Batman helmet? That's cool. Bro. Not even having that, dude. not even having it. Casper says, looks like a tiki head, right? It's really bad. Probably didn't pay the graphic designer fully. Right. Or it was a freelancer they had on staff. Hey, we're going to make an NFT. And the designer's like, what? Okay. Yeah, we're just going to shuffle some textures. Just make 10 helmets, shuffle the features or whatever. And, we'll just figure out the textures later. It's pretty bad, and it really pisses me off because it's low effort and it's a money grab, right? It's the worst. And I like DC and I like Batman and I like Jim Lee. And Palm Studios, I actually like. Palm is a really good, it's not really their fault. They're just trying to get partnerships. But man, like we're out here in the trenches working our ass off to create something original and new and different. And these guys are trying to make $60 million off of people's backs. And these are not going to be, I could be wrong, do your own research, right? I'm not a financial advisor. I don't pretend to be one, but I would personally, I'm not going to touch this with a 10-foot pole. And I am going to be really curious. I'm going to watch this because I'm very curious to know if we will know if it sells out. On April 26th, they're going to try to sell 200,000 of these things for $300 each. They might do it. I don't know though, man. Most of the NFT market's pretty smart. You know what I mean? The NFT market is not full of stupid people. Some of the smartest people I've ever met are in this space. You kind of have to be on the cutting edge of this crap, right? Like you got to be a risk taker, an entrepreneurial spirit at least. And a lot of people like are smart when it comes to programming and math and everything, design, and this is just not going to fly, in my opinion. So, yeah, you guys, let me know what you think about this. I saw this and I was like, man, I always try to come with positive stories or at least kind of like straight news. I really don't like crapping on projects, but I couldn't resist this one because it's such an egregious example of what not to do. It just drives me nuts, man. It's really bad. It's really fucking bad. Yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. Are you guys going to buy this? Did I shun you away from this project hard enough? Or like, are you like, nah, man, Todd, you're an idiot. That looks great. Let me know. I really want to know. I'm really curious about it. All right. So I got one more big story for you. And, this one is very interesting. It actually directly ties into what we're doing at Adult Fantasy. So anytime that happens, I'm going to share it. So I saw this post today and it's from Kaigani, who is well-known, well-respected in the space. He said, not enough people are talking about the collapse of the mid-tier rarity market in NFTs. And this was like radar for me, because this was the mid-tier rarity market collapse, or the fact that there's a gap between what people are able to like get rewarded from or profit from when they sell their digital asset, is why we spent 9 months developing the technology, like the groundbreaking technology that we have behind the adult fantasy NFT. Because if you guys for you guys that have one, you guys know this, but for anyone that doesn't, what we do with the NFT is we created brand new technology that adds essentially a layer 2 rarity tier towards what NFTs already have. So for the adult fantasy NFT, we invented grading for NFTs. And so every single mint that you have is randomly graded like a classic comic book or a car that you would see at like Christie's or Sotheby's or Heritage auctions, where the card is graded. And not only is it graded, but there's a real-time algorithm element to it where the grade de-ages, well, the card de-ages over the time and the grade increases. Meaning that when everybody minted at mint, everybody's card started at 0.5, which is really awful. It's poor condition, it's wrinkled, it looks like there's water damage or torn or beat up, looks like, you know, you put it in the old school, put it in the bicycle spokes or whatever, and just beat the crap out of the baseball card, right? So everyone got these poor cards, and then every single day, your algorithm basically on the back end is rolling dice to see, like, does this card improve in quality and therefore de-age and therefore have the grade improve. So it's kind of like the world's slowest marathon, where everyone starts at the same point, and then over time, certain NFTs get bigger, get better and better and better, and they only get better. They don't like get worse. So it's a really cool mechanic, and it's going to be really it's super interesting to see this stuff in real time and watch OpenSea update every 24 hours with new stats. So I'm setting all that stuff up for this article because this guy who's a thinker in the space is saying not enough people are talking about the collapse of the mid-tier rarity market in NFTs. And then other people are popping in saying, oh yeah, Pranksky and Nate Alex NFT have been talking about this, which is my immediate circle. That's great. He hasn't heard too many others saying it. Well, I'm here to tell you, man, we've been talking about this since we jumped in early, like February of last year. Again, we invented technology to solve it. You best believe I'll be reaching out to him to tell him that too. So here's the article. This is something. So there was a link in here about, do mid-tier NFTs matter? Using Bored Ape Yacht Club as an example, and this is important. This is research-based proof that what we did at Adult Fantasy is the right direction. Right? It's a validation for our holders. It's a validation for our technology. It's a validation for our team. Like, no questions asked. So how do low, mid, and high tier basey NFTs compare? Let's get the obvious analysis out of the way. Yes, mid-tier NFTs are slightly higher in price than their low tier or floor counterparts. But how do they stack up in terms of relative rarities and floor prices across the board? Let's take a look at basey. The most valuable single trait is gold fur. So we will use fur traits as an example. Below is a chart showing all basey fur types and how many of each fur trait exist. So you've got the gold fur trait, which is the most rare, so the most valuable, the bottom left, and then trippy and noise and deathbot and all of that stuff, all the way up to black, dark brown, and brown. Okay, so those become the most common. So you can kind of see the curve right here. As expected, there's almost a linear line. So we'll just look at this. A linear line from gold fur, the rarest, to brown fur, the most common. If floor price is directly linked to rarity, we'd expect to see an inverse chart when looking at floor price based on fur type, with gold fur as the highest and brown fur as the lowest. Makes sense, right? If gold is the most rare, it should have the highest price. And if brown is the most common, it should have the lowest price. And you would have this inverse linear line, or this diagonal line, right? It'd be completely inversed. So let's check this out. But here's what happens. Here's what's crazy. What we get instead is a flat line followed by a small spike for trippy fur and a massive spike for gold fur. The difference between brown, dark brown, black, gold brown, cream, tan, pink, gray, blue, and red fur is nearly non-existent in terms of floor price. More interestingly, cheetah, white, zombie, robot, DMT, deathbot, and even noise fur types are rather flat in comparison to trippy and gold fur. So that's fascinating, right? That's really interesting. So what you have here almost is the long tail effect. So this is where the long tail basically states, well, there's a lot of stuff in the long tail, but what's interesting about the long tail in comparison to this chart is that you have basically the blockbuster song, or in this case, the blockbuster NFT, which is the gold fur, just be the huge hit. And then everything else is just like all the way down to the bottom. Now, the thing with the long tail is that in terms of financing and revenue, the long tail actually brings in more money than the blockbuster. So if you were to take that long tail from noise all the way to brown and you were to push it vertical, that's more money than the gold fur brings in by a lot. So Bored Ape is making all of its money really from noise to brown, if that makes sense, right? But what you're not seeing, and to the point of the article, is you're not seeing that diagonal. Like on this, cheetah should be right in the center. It should be right between gold and brown, but it's not. It's at the bottom. Like, you know, if I had based on this graph, if I had a brown Bored Ape, I might as well price it to like zombie or robot or deathbot. Like, why not? Right? Like, why not pump the price since it's all about the same anyway? So what we get instead is a flat line. I read that. Let's look at the same phenomenon another way. So the light blue is the number of apes with trait. So you can see the brown has the most, gold has the least. And then the floor price. Well, the floor price for gold is, I guess, 500 ETH. And then it just drops. Trippy is like, has that spike. But from noise all the way down to brown, it's basically the same thing. Like, it goes down maybe a little bit, but it's basically all the same. It's pretty flat. That's crazy, right? Absolutely nuts. So the difference between the top two fur types and the rest of the field is clear. But what about the difference between mid-tier and low-tier NFTs? The massive increase from both trippy and gold fur could be making the difference between noise and brown fur look minimal. But is it actually? So they're trying to say, well, like, let's zoom in just to make sure that the data is accurate, right? So let's look at the donut charts. In these charts, the floor total is first calculated by adding together all current floor prices on each base E fur trade. So 1,309 ETH for the chart on the left and 648 ETH for the chart on the right. I'm going to try to simplify this a little bit so that we're not just talking numbers, because it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to process. The corresponding percentage of the total floor price is then calculated and displayed by dividing the trade's floor price by the total floor price. So really, they're just like taking them, grouping them up from mid to low and mid and high, and just kind of like doing the simple math there. The larger the percentage, the more valuable the trait is compared to the rest of the field. As expected, in the chart on the left, the gold and trippy fur traits dominate most of the donut, showcasing their dominance as fur traits. The previous bar and line charts give us the same visual, but the chart on the right shows us that even when the gold and trippy fur traits are removed, the most valuable mid-tier traits are still barely more valuable than low-tier traits. DMT is worth 7.6% of the total floor price, excluding gold and trippy, the highest of all traits. So you can see, like, on the right side, it's actually pretty fairly even on everything. It's really fascinating. So I'm just I don't want to dive in too much to numbers. Like I said, it gets a little crazy, but this should make it abundantly clear that mid-tier floor prices are slightly higher than low tier, but insignificant in comparison to the high tier floor prices. Rarity clearly matters. the difference between the floor price of a golden ape and a floor ape is hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, but it only seems to significantly matter for the rarest traits. So how does rarity score impact floor price? Fur is obviously not the only trait that matters when evaluating the rarity and price of a Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT. Blue laser eyes, black suits, yada, 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 they all have inflated floor prices. And it gets even more complicated when considering multiple traits at the same time. And so I'm just going to say, this is where rarity scores come into play, which is a useful tool for determining an NFT's overall rarity in comparison to the rest of the field. The score does not always consider the nuance of all traits, which is why qualitative analysis is important in the NFT space, but it's good for identifying overall trends. So this is interesting because I'll read this and then I'll tell you my thoughts on this chart. As the chart above shows, most Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs see minor increases in floor price with increased rarity scores. It isn't until rarity scores separate themselves that floor prices dramatically start to rise. The mid-tier NFTs are still grouped in with the low-tier NFTs, as floor price barely increases from the rarity score range of 0 to 10 and only slightly increases from 10 to 20. Again, a massive separation between mid-tier NFTs and high-tier NFTs. So this is one of the reasons why, to date, so again, I can only speak for myself. Your mileage may vary, but I've become pretty good at picking winners in the NFT space. There's no special sauce. I look at the team, I look at the mission, I see if they've done it before, right? Is there something in their history, if they're open about who they are or what they've done? Is there something about the team that tells me that they have a chance in hell of actually doing it, like they've done it before? And I also look at, that's the most important stuff to me. And then I'll look and see if influencers are chasing it, right? And these are for I certainly buy NFTs where influencers are not involved, but it is important to see what they're shilling, because they're going to pump their own bags, right? And if you kind of balance all of that out, sometimes it's just, if the team is strong enough and if I don't hear an influencer talking about it, I'm totally in. I'm actually looking at 3 or 4 projects right now that I'm thinking about buying where I have not seen one influencer talk about it. In fact, these projects are talking about not purposely avoiding influencers, which I think is about to be a trend, but that's a topic for another time. But it's all about the team and the mission and the art and whether I think they can actually accomplish what they talk about. What I don't do, and I've never done, is use tools like Icy Tools or Nansen or any of these, rarity tools, any of these things that showcase exactly how rare something is, because of this effect. Because it doesn't matter. You either go for the floor, so your investment is safe, right? So the floor bumps up a little bit, boom, you're in the money, because you're okay, well, at least I'm safe. The floor is higher than what I paid. That way, if I had to flip it, or if I choose to flip it, or I choose to sell at any point in time, most likely I'm going to be able to make that money back that I originally invested. So you're usually good on that side. And then on the other side, you go for the whales and everybody else, or if you get in lucky early, if right after that reveal, you go into OpenSea and you find the rarest thing and go for it. Right? If you can afford it and it hasn't hit a crazy amount yet, you buy it, because then you're hitting the other side of this, right? That's really all it's been for the last 2 years. So we'll talk about how adult fantasy changes this. I mean, some of you guys already know, but it's obvious. It's not, it's great that they have the charts now. And you best believe that I'm going to be using this in our pitch deck. Thank you for doing hard work, everybody out there in the internet. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Hope you don't mind me ganking it for a pitch deck. Do mid-tier rarity Bored Ape NFTs matter? It seems like mid-tier NFTs, for the most part, don't matter. The difference between low-tier and mid-tier NFT floor prices is insignificant when compared to the difference between high-tier NFTs and the rest of the field. The reason for this conclusion is unknown. It's totally known. The NFT marketplace and its collectors and traders might be inefficient. A historical lack of effective tools for evaluating an NFT rarities could be the cause. No, man. God, they're getting so analytical with this. It's really basic human nature. It's just emotion and psychology. Collectors and traders might just not care about midterm NFTs, blah, 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 blah. All these things, they completely miss it. whatever the cause, the data is clear. Right now, mid-tier NFTs are not separated from low-tier, blah, blah, blah. And then they have to give a disclaimer that NFT market dynamics are subject to change. Here's the deal, man. The reason this is an effect is because this is what the market has said matters, right? So up until this point, up until Adult Fantasy NFT and the technology that we created for the NFT, like there's only a couple of ways that you can determine the value of an NFT, right? The market tells you, okay, so we have this NFT design. There's 10,000 of them, PFP NFT designs, and the most rare one has a rubber nose. A red rubber nose is the most rare trait. So there you go. So everyone understands that, so they're going to go for it because it's so rare. So all the whales are going to go for that. So that price escalates because you, as the founding team and the NFT market, it's not just a founding team thing. The market has decided that that most rare item is worth X amount of money. Okay, cool. So then there's everything else. Well, most everybody else sees, by the time they see the red rubber nose NFT that's super valuable, it's already out of buying range, no matter how many there are, right? And by definition, it's rare. So let's say there's 50 of them. Let's say there's 10 of them, right? They're super rare. They're hard to get, and the whales have already got it. And they're already out of the reach for most people, okay? So the rest of the buying base looks at that and says, well, I just want to get in. So they just go for the floor. They go to the floor, they see what they like, they try to get a deal so that it's safety. There's safety in the most rare thing because, or less risk, de-risking. I wouldn't call NFTs safe necessarily, but there's a de-risking mechanism when you buy the most rare thing because it's the most rare thing. There's another de-risking mechanism by buying the floor, because if you buy it at 0.2 or 0.02 and it moves to 0.03, you're okay. Like certainly the price could collapse and it could be worth 0.0000, right? But as long as it goes to 0.03 or 0.04 or 0.05 or whatever, you're financially okay, because at any point in time you could flip it for at least what you put into it and hopefully make a profit, right? Hopefully make a return on that asset that you purchased. That's what it's about. It's about risk. Everything, and we looked at this as a team back in February of last year and early March, and we saw that. So that's the only way people decided. There's only one other mechanism besides the whale bait for the highest thing and the low end floor, and that is if someone releases an NFT, like 5,000 NFTs, and they all look the same, like a comic NFT, like Pixel Vault's Punk's comic #1, right? It's all the same cover, it's all the same comic. There is no difference at all in those NFTs. There's no rarity type to it, except the market has determined that there is. And in that case, the rarity type is token ID. It's the serial number. The very first Pixel comic #1, the first mint, I believe was purchased off market for a large sum of money and is now, I believe, in the Pixel vault, although I could be wrong. I think it's in their vault. And then book number 2 and book number 3 that were minted also hold value more than the rest than book number 5,276, right? The market has decided that rarity type is in the token ID. The very first few that are minted hold an intrinsic value or more of an intrinsic value than the rest of the collection. And that's about it. That's the game in NFTs right now. And it's really simple. It ain't that hard, but it's also broken. And we know that, and we saw that. And so we changed it. And so the reason I wanted to share this, and I'm kind of happy to present this as a win for our holders, fucking yeah, is that what we did is said, okay, well, if right now there's this massive gap. There's a gap between the people who have the floor, who get the floor, and the people who are the whales and get that whale bait at the highest tier. Everybody else is screwed. If you have the Bored Ape, if you have Bored Ape number 5,000, whatever, in the middle of this thing, here's the data. We called it a year ago. Here's the actual data, right? You're screwed. You might as well sell it for the floor, or you might as well sell it for something higher up. It doesn't really matter that much, right? It's all about the same. And so what we said is, well, when we looked out into the real world and we looked out into auction houses, and the entire second half of the 20th century was the birth of the collector. I mean, look behind me. Like, this stuff is like, it's all collectibles, right? Like, we have collectible cards, collectible tickets. You can collect apparel. Everything is collectible, and everything is traded and sold and graded. Band posters are slabbed and graded and sold at auction. So what we decided to do was look at the real world and said, what is in the market right now, what is real, that is proven, that has been validated a million times over in terms of how collectibles are perceived as valuable. Where is the value, and where is, how is it done? And so when we looked at grading and we looked at slabbing, we were like, well, why not just bring it into the digital world? And people were scoffing at it, saying, oh, well, who would want their NFT damaged, or who would want their NFT graded? Like, it doesn't need to be graded. And I'm like, no, it really does, because otherwise everything is the same. The problem with NFTs is that everything is perfect all the time. There is no differentiator other than the rarity trait. You need another layer. So the case and the grade that comes with adult fantasy is essentially a layer 2 rarity solution, right? It's like layer 2 for NFTs. And that way, you now have this new situation where what happens, and this is something that adult fantasy holders know and kind of get a kick out of. What happens when you have the gold, let's just say what happens when you have the super rare rubber nose character NFT, but the grade on it is like a 5.0, meaning there's 3 in all of this collection. There's 10,000 pieces out there, and there are only 3 out of 10,000 that are the super rare red rubber nose ones, meaning the whales are going to go after it. It's going to be worth hundreds ETH. Let's just say 100 ETH, whatever, doesn't matter. Like, okay, great, that's the super rare one. But what happens when there's another rarity element on top of it, another layer of rarity that says, that red rubber nose one is super rare, because there's only 3 of those cards in the entire collection. There's only 3 NFTs that are that rare, but the grading of those NFTs is 3.5, 5.5, and 7.5. Cool. So now we know that even though there's 3 that have the red rubber nose, the one that's 7.5 is going to be the most valuable, and then 5.5, and then 3.5, right? So it's pretty obvious. Now let's add something else. What if there's a really common card, a card that 1,000 people have? There's nothing special about it. In fact, it's a floor, for all intents and purposes. It is a floor card in this series, right? It's a floor NFT, but there's this layer 2 rarity type on top of it that has graded it at a 10.0. It is gem mint. There is not a flaw in it at all. It is perfect. And it's the only one in the entire NFT set. The only one. There is not another one. So now the market has to look at this and say, oh, wow, okay. So there are 3 red nose ones that are rare cards, but the grading is not as good as the only one of this common card that is gem mint perfect condition. It's the only one ever to exist. And so the market needs to rebalance itself. And once you have those polar corners set in place, once those corners are set in stone, you start to realize that the middle ground, this waste of the mid-tier NFT, this massive drought, is eliminated, because now the middle, now any single NFT in that entire set can beat that rare red rubber nose piece. Does that make sense? Or if not beat it, compete. So if you have a red rubber nose if the top red rubber nose rarity NFT is a 7.5, then any other card in the stack, any other NFT that beats a 7.5, while it may not topple the whale bait value of the rarity of that specific red rubber nose NFT, the value curve changes to where there's a more of a value placed in the mid tier than just the high tier and the floor. Does that make sense, guys? Does that make sense? So I get excited by this because this is what we've been talking about for a year and change. And now there's proof that we were 100% correct. 100% right. Irrefutable proof. We did something that solved this problem, period. And now you have very smart people in the space who are now just starting to talk about it. We're like, look at this. You got Pranksky and Nate Alex NFT, who are major people that I look up to, right? I respect the hell out of, and they're talking about it now. Cool. Where were you last year, right? Like, all right, awesome. Like, more people should be talking about this. Not knocking anybody for talking about it now. And I'm not saying, who knows, they might've been talking it about a year ago, but they never solved the problem for it. We did. So it's awesome to have people jump on, and it's awesome to be recognized that we're solving a problem that is absolutely a problem. Because we got a lot of shit for it, not publicly, but there were when we were launching, we were pitching, and we were talking to a bunch of influencers behind the scenes. We made a decision early on not to pay influencers for our launch, and we never paid a penny for influencers. Not that I'm opposed to it necessarily, but we thought it would be more important to do it organic to get people really involved. With that said, we absolutely reached out. I personally reached out to every single NFT influencer you could possibly think of, and there's like the three categories. Some were super cool and actually got back and were like, oh, hey, yeah, this is cool. I'll check it out. And some people really liked it. Most of the influencers just ignore you, which is fine. That's kind of expected. But we got some influencers, major people that are very well known in the space. Like, they were very angry about this concept. For some reason, this just pissed them off. It's against Web3 principles. I hated the concept. I'm not going to support it. If you blah, 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 blah. Just absolutely went nuts, which I always take as a sign of like you're doing something right. If you're pissing somebody off that hard for just coming in and trying to create something new, it probably means there's something there. Who knows? Maybe they were trying to create something in a competitive way and we blew them up. Don't know. But this is fantastic. I love the fact that people are talking about this. It is a problem. It's something that we're solving right now. It's something that people that we're talking to a lot of partners right now, a lot of project owners who are also recognizing this, and they're coming to us now and looking to see if we can do a partnership so that we can help them with their next launch to help out. This is ultimately the people that will come and partner with us and use the technology are people that actually give a shit about their holders and their buyers. Because if you're a project owner and you have the foresight to recognize that the only pieces that matter are the floor price and the rarity, then you have an obligation to take care of the people, to take care of 99% of the people that purchase your product who are not at the floor and not at the ceiling. It's your responsibility to create something for them so that everybody can prosper. One of the things that drives me nuts, and the reason that this is true is because everybody is so focused on raising the floor price. The floor price shouldn't matter if the middle tier is a thing. If the mid tier sells, then who gives a shit about the floor price? You see what I'm saying? If the mid tier had an arc to it, to where it was like the floor price was the cheapest, and then the middle tier was the middle pricing and it sold, and the high tier was the high tier and it sold, nobody would be talking about floor price. Sure, you always want the floor price to rise because that's going to make the entire collection like a little more prestigious. But the reason there's such a push on floor price right now is because that's 99% of what sells, period. People don't tend to buy in the middle, as this proves. Or if they're buying in the middle, they're basically paying floor price, or vice versa, right? There's not a big difference there. So we're fixing that gap. You should, for every project that you're in, you should look and see if they're trying to address this. I will tell you right now, not a lot of people are. Nobody understands this. And you know, I can look, our team is blessed. We're lifetime collectors. You know, this isn't a green screen. I've spent a lot of time collecting things I probably shouldn't have. You know what I mean? Like I got long boxes right here in front of my desk. But if coming from comics and animation and a collector mentality, it was like glaringly obvious that this is what was happening. Right now, NFTs are in their infancy. It's a hype cycle. Everybody hypes into everything. It's the beginning stage of the adoption curve. And this is why. This is how you know, because rarity is either whale bait or floor price, and everybody else gets kind of fucked. And so I recommend to, you know, look, check us out. We want to work with people. Yeah, it's a blatant pitch, but there's a reason for it, because it's a healthier market when the mid-tier matters. The mid-tier must matter, because that's where out of 10,000 buyers of your collection, if you've got 5,000 people buying 10,000 pieces, that means 4,900 plus are fucked. And that's not cool, right? That's 4,000 plus people that at some point are going to try to sell their work and realize they have to go to the floor price to sell that mid-tier piece. And that's not fun, right? That's not a positive experience. It's not happy. And you need happy buyers to be repeat customers and to create loyalty. Right. And I think it's important for the space and as a whole to solve that middle tier gap problem. Right. So check us out, see what we're doing. I'd love to talk about this more. 100%. Any project owner or if you're interested in a project, come talk, because that's where we are. A lot of people are talking to us and we want to talk to more people. What do you guys think? Let's see. Hey, what's up? Opportunist. What's up, brother? How you doing? Welcome. AF NFT tech is fire. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Absolutely. Andrew Ray says great points. Thank you. You know, I don't know why a lot of people are not. I mean, it's good now. Look, it's amazing that people now are starting to think, hey, wait a minute. A lot of people are getting screwed. But you notice even from this article, they're like, we don't know why. I just explained to you why. You know, they're just like, for some reason, we don't really understand. Where is it? Let's see where that was. I want to read that again. I'm not going to be able to find it. You guys, I read it. I said it, though. It's in here somewhere. Let's see. Previous bar chart, highest traits, mid-tier. Right. Rarity scores. Yeah, the reason for this conclusion is unknown. NFT marketplace and its collectors and traders might be inefficient, right? Like they're blaming the market and collectors for being inefficient when that's not the case at all. It's just that people understand risk intrinsically. We understand risk. We're the ones spending money, right? Nobody wants to get caught. You want to make your money back as fast as possible. So you're either going to buy the most expensive, the thing that's going to go up the most in price, or you're going to go for the thing that's the lowest in price, so the floor raises, so you're safe. You're either going to get on first base or you want to get a home run. Nobody wants to get out, right? It's not complicated. Like, look at all these questions this guy has. Historical lack of effective tools. Yeah, maybe we need more high-tech tools that will charge you $100 a month to check out what I just told you for free. Collectors and traders might just not care about mid-tier NFTs. It's not that they don't care; it's they don't want to fucking lose their ass. You know, Bored Ape could be a special case, definitely a special case, but not in the way that this person's talking about. This is a brilliant article. I'm not talking anything bad about the person that wrote this. I think it's fantastic that this person wrote this and figured this stuff out. Jason Bales should be credited for writing this, because this is a hugely important article. So I appreciate this tremendously. Willie D says, utility seems to be increasingly important to NFTs. Rarity, while nice, may not be as important if everyone holding the NFT has the same utility. True. But both go hand in hand, right? Like utility is experience. Rarity is about exit strategy, right? Or I should say, I mean, I don't want to put everything in a box, but rarity could also be about the utility, because the more rare an item is, you could get certain things, or you know, there's a lot of ways to combine rarity into utility. So that's probably a little bit of that. You're 100% correct that utility seems to be increasingly important. That's 100%. And I think we're just at the tip of the iceberg for what utility can be in NFTs. I'll be honest, man. Some of the times I see some of the stuff that people are doing, and I'm like, man, such good ideas, so good. There's a lot of smart people out there doing really cool things. Rarity, while nice, may not be as important if everyone holding the NFT has the same utility. This is true. That's a good point. I think it depends on the NFT, right? There are plenty of alpha NFTs, like alpha Discord NFTs, where the NFT is kind of the same, or totally the same. So you have alpha NFTs where it just looks like a credit card or a badge, and they all look the same, and people buy it, and so they don't care about rarity. Then you also have something like MetaKey, and what MetaKey did that I thought was really smart is they did 500 of their first edition, I think, 750 of their second edition, 1,500 or something of their third edition. So they kept onboarding people into their alpha group, but they capped each card type, and each NFT looked completely different. So generation 1, the Genesis, looked different than the second set, then looked different than the third set. You got different artists to do each one, and that looked fantastic. Super brilliant, because all of a sudden, now that I think the fourth edition, I'm guessing here, but I think it was like 5,000 of them or something. Now that there's a more common MetaKey card, the first Genesis card, the first MetaKey is worth the most. And so he created a rarity structure, even though the utility is the same. What somebody gets for owning one of the first 3 generations is different than what someone from the 4th generation on gets. So over time, what he's doing is he's creating, everyone gets an amazing utility, and it's a utility NFT, meaning you're getting the NFT purely for the utility of the NFT. But he's also created some basic rarity types within that membership card structure that makes it collectible, right? And I think he probably has, and I'm guessing here, but he probably has a better graph than this, because it's very clear that you can be in whatever tier you want to be in, right? I'd be curious. To your point, I would be curious to see something like a Cool Cats graph, to see if Cool Cats, which I think is, as a 10,000 PFP project, it has a really good defined tier structure as well, right? There's Classy and all that kind of stuff. There's Classy 1, Classy 2, and I don't remember the rest. But that also might have a little bit better of a curve structure. But for the majority of projects, it absolutely looks like this. Great. That's a great comment, Willie D. For real. That's a really good comment. Andrew says, how about holder count? Is there a same thought in the increase of holders, strong core of holders, or decreasing the holder NFT ratio? Yeah, that's a really good question. Holder count is interesting, because the truth is that different projects, so the way a majority of the market perceives holder count is not necessarily the way the project views holder count. And what I mean by that is, since a majority of the projects right now are in the 10,000 PFP class, whether they have 5,000 NFTs or whatever, the PFP model is certainly dominant right now. And because the PFP model is dominant, where every single NFT is, that is essentially shuffled rarity types, so every single piece is unique, the holder count is important for those projects, because the perception is that if 50%, if there's a 50% hold rate or more, so if you have 10,000 NFTs and you have like 5,000 or more holders, that's seen as a really good sign of market liquidity and holder count and a base, right? Meaning that really the way that got started, from my recollection, is having a higher count meant that a whale couldn't just come in, buy everything, and then just dump it on everybody else. That's to my recollection, that's how it started. Where you would have projects where it would have like the project would sell out, but a whale would come in and buy most of the collection and then just dump it, and everybody would kind of lose their shirt. So the higher the count, the more liquidity, and the more liquidity usually means the more sales, the more flips, the more buys. It's a good sign for PFP projects. That's not necessarily the case. So for ours, it's completely different. And it's what we did is we have this weird project. It's a very strange little project where it's generative in that every single card is unique in the grading and in the technology, but it's a non-generative project and that there's only 25 characters. So there's 25 characters. There's in a set of 2,200 NFTs. There's only 25 characters, but each NFT out of the 2,200 is generative because of the tech. So the de-aging, every single card looks different, but it's the same characters, if that makes sense. So it's a very strange thing. And what we found, and look, I'll be the first to admit that any NFT founder that doesn't say that this is all an experiment is bullshitting you. They tell you they know exactly what they're doing. I mean, it's just too early, man. You know what I mean? Like every single project owner behind closed doors is having the same conversation. I promise you, no matter how much money they make or where they are in their journey, they're all like, what the fuck do we do next? How are we going to do this? Like that's every single founder conversation. I promise you, because I'm having them with a lot of founders. So with our project, it's different in that because we created these characters and we kept it to 25, what we did is we created a set because we mimicked traditional cards, right? Like I have, let's see if I can make something. Oh yeah, right here. See, this is how much of a nerd I am. I'm just gonna look over to the side of me and say, yeah, I'll just grab a card deck over here. Right? You guys remember that? I got like the original, these are the like original X-Men trading cards, or one of the originals. I think it's like what is this? Series 2, X-Men Series 2. So this was like, oh man, Alan Davis, Joe Quesada, Jim Lee, is like everybody. So classic. Look at that. Look at that Greg Capullo. This dude, Greg Capullo, ended up doing Spawn and just killing shit for a crazy amount of issues. Anyway, sorry, nerd break. We modeled cards and we made sets. So what that meant is that, and this is what we thought would happen, but you never know until you put it out there. But what happened is the people who came in, like Opportunist and J-Raw, what's up J-Raw, and Willie D and some of the other guys in here, like started to collect the set because it was a set. And so what we saw is that we had a little bit of consolidation, but we've got like diamond hands, man. Like I think we started, so out of 2,200 NFTs, and some of those were for the vault. So I think it was 2,000 public. Don't quote me on that. Shiraboom would know better, but I think it was 2,000 public. So out of 2,000 publicly available, we had, I think the most amount of holders we had was about 420, which is great. It was like 420 people. And that was December. And now it's April 1st. And I think we're at like 410. So out of all that time, like almost no flipping, zero flippers, really, like percentage wise, like less than 1%, which is unheard of. And when the pieces were up for sale, it was the collectors coming in to try to fill out the sets, which is 100% what we prayed and hoped for, because for long-term growth and success, that's exactly what you want. I'd rather have personally fewer holders, but holders that actually collect and want to hold, because those are the people that are going to benefit the most, especially when we do airdrops, especially when the rewards kick in, especially when the ownership stakes come in, all the other stuff that happens. We want the people who are in this universe and in this project to be deep into it and really care about it. And so one way to get rid of flippers is to create a de-aging mechanism that takes 4 years, right? So you're not going to know the actual value of the NFT you own for like another, I guess it's another 3 years and X number of months, because it's a slow marathon, right? So there's 0 flippers, and we were very blatant. We were very upfront and said, this is not for flippers. If you like are a flipper, I'm telling you, you're probably not going to want this. You're really not going to want this project, right? Like you don't make something that takes 4 years to evolve if you're looking to attract flippers, right? So we really focused on a core group of people who are going to really care and really give a shit about this stuff. So I really think it depends on, it really depends on the project. And there is a misnomer right now. Like because it's so common to see like high ratios of holders for PFP projects. It is a little bit of a barrier on our side, where we're like, people come in and they might see it's like a lower, they either see it's a lower floor price right now, or they see it's a lower holder count, or they see it's a lower trade volume, and they're basing perception on what's happening in the rest of the market, right? But we're the complete opposite. Like our numbers are exactly, honestly, like we're very happy. Like floor price is completely controllable. Like honestly, like we could buy the floor tomorrow and the floor price goes up, right? Somebody comes in tomorrow that's not us and buys the floor price tomorrow and it goes up. We launch a new project tomorrow and it goes up. Like floor price is very malleable, right? The holder count is solid, which is exactly what we would want to see. And then people mistake trading volume for a positive sign, but in our experience, again, my background is Marvel Comics or Marvel Entertainment, Cartoon Network, like a lot of branding and a lot of IP building and fine art. So I worked with a guy named Jeff Koons, who's the most successful artist since Andy Warhol. And you don't get, I mean, he's the highest paid living artist. I think his highest piece was like 80+ million at an auction. So like, and he's not an old dude. Like he's like in his 50s or something. So like, you learn a lot, and what you learn is, and I think again, just like we called this and most people missed it, I'm calling it now, is that people are also missing they're looking at NFTs and they're seeing it as an investment vehicle, and makes sense because a lot of the people that came into NFTs are from crypto trading and DeFi. But from a fine art perspective, which NFTs have an element of art and fine art. It doesn't have to be just one of one pieces to be fine art, okay? Collectibles are very emotionally and psychologically tied to fine art. Inside of the collectible space, inside of fine art, as you go higher up in terms of things that are really valuable inside of art, volume traded is a sign of pain of the buyer. Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, volume traded is the amount of money that the team gets. It has nothing to do with a collector or a buyer of the product. It just means that that's how much money has been traded, and the team gets a piece of that from secondary sales. It's bonus cash for the team. So it benefits the team to make something that flips fast so they can bump up the secondary price. Does that make sense? A higher secondary price can benefit the team, but it doesn't benefit the buyer. It's a pain point for the buyer because at some point that person decided to get rid of the thing. Either they didn't like it anymore, or they wanted something else in the market more, or they decided to flip it and just to make some money, right? regardless of the reason behind the sale, a higher volume or trading volume is a signal that there was some pain from the buyer and they needed to relieve it by getting rid of this thing. Okay? It is not a sign of success. And if you want a definitive example similar to this graph, look at the Mona Lisa. We all know the Mona Lisa. Look at the Mona Lisa. What's the trade volume on the Mona Lisa? It's pretty low. How does that affect the price? It's a priceless work of art. That's right. Does that make sense? So from our standpoint, the metrics are dependent on the type of project, right? PFP projects are going to have metrics one way. Ours are completely different. Like, it's a completely different beast. And there is a learning curve for people to come over to see that and understand. But from our perspective, from the team's perspective, from holder perspective, 100% our numbers are like really exciting to us, right? I don't, maybe at some point we make an NFT where there's a game in it where, like, let's see how fast it can get traded and pump the volume, the trading volume. But that's not the point. The point is for people to get it and hold it and dig it. And the fact that we have people who have bought it and who haven't sold it. The trade volume is so low that we haven't even gotten that blue check mark, which is another problem, by the way. Sidebar, like, you want to know why there's so many goddamn flippers? Not all flippers are bad. I'm just saying why there's so many flippers in projects, right? Because a lot of projects think flipping is bad. One of the reasons there's a lot of flipping for projects is that projects are incentivized to get flippers to flip so they can get that blue check mark on OpenSea, because OpenSea has a floor of, like, I think it's like 100 ETH traded before you can qualify for a blue check, right? So it's incentivizing every project to get at least 100 ETH flipped, because the project gets more money from those volume trades, from the secondary sales, and they get the blue check mark, which means it's official. That's another problem. I digress. Hope that apologies for tangents. Opportunist says, wait until we start up the 1,000-year projects. Yeah. Yeah, dude. So full disclosure, there was a discussion, like, so the very first, I'm very glad we didn't do this. I had the idea. I took full responsibility. We were talking about adult fantasy, and we were talking about the timeline, like how long are these things going to age? And we were running all these tests because we wanted to balance excitement with distance, meaning, if it's 1,000 years, right? Like, how often did that change? Like once every quarter or something? Like, we wanted this thing to change, like as often as possible without being crazy, right? We wanted people to come back to OpenSea or LooksRare or whatever every day and have the potential to see the NFT change. And so that's why we decided on 4 years. My original idea was 28 years. So I'm very glad that my family and friends and team talked me out of that, because I think that would have been a mistake. J-Raw, I'm out working right now. Just caught this. What's up, J-Raw? I know you're driving. You better not be like watching and driving, bro. Like, there's going to be a replay, I promise. Opportunist, 1,000-year upgrade NFT that changes the picture slowly, pixel by pixel. Ooh, every 100 years the pixel changes. Oh, I like that. 1,000-year upgrade NFT that changes the picture slowly, pixel by pixel, every 100 years. Yeah, I like that a lot. That's pretty cool. 10 pictures over millennium. Yeah, I do like the idea. So we have some things coming up that, not a 1,000-year project, but we like the idea of NFTs that can change. So I'm gonna put that out there. Yeah, for sure. Dusty says, yeah, most diamond-handed project around. That's true, right? It really is. And it's a blessing. It really is. And I know we're small and we're growing. We're not Bored Ape, we're not Azuki, but I'm telling you, like, the fundamentals are there 100%. Like, we've got the best diamond hands, and there's no consolidation. Like, whoever bought kept. There are only, since December, think about it like this, since December when we launched to April, there are only 10 fewer people holding NFTs. Everything else is consolidated. right? And they're hard to get. 10 people, like unheard of. And I think right now it varies, but I think right now there's only 5% of the supply available on 2,000 pieces, bro. Like unbelievable, absolutely awesome. It's true. Yep. People are in for a surprise soon. The OpenSea is taking all check marks. Is it really? Is OpenSea taking all the check marks away? That's a rumor, he says. Dude, send me that link. I'd love to see that discussion. I had no idea about that. I had not heard that. That would be that. See, maybe they're going to do the right thing. OpenSea has problems, but I still say it's you can't deny that it's done a great job, and it's still number one. Awesome, guys. Well, man, pretty good conversation. Imagine 20 new collectors on S1. Yeah, it's coming too. It's coming. Talk about scarcity. Right. Well, this is also why we set up the community wallet the way we did, because we've got a community wallet, and this is for any of you guys that are not in Adult Fantasy yet. If you come in and hang out, one of our missions is to bring in new people by giving them NFTs. Now, we want to be careful of who we want to give it to, because we don't want flippers, and we want to make sure, again, I feel because of the technology and because of the group, I feel like I have an obligation to let people know, like, if you come in and you're new and you win a giveaway and you get an NFT, like, you should know beforehand that it's not a flip project, right? I don't want anyone to feel like they got caught holding something, right? Like, you should know what you're getting into. But we certainly want as many people as possible. We definitely want to get a little bigger sooner rather than later, for sure. Opportunist. Okay, Sunny Days will send. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. For sure. Yeah, where's Sunny Days? I haven't seen her in a minute. Yeah, guys. So it's fantastic. Good conversation. I hope this was of value to you. I try to come every night and give you a little gold nugget, a little something, a little insight into NFTs and the market and running a project that other people don't. Days like today are brilliant, though, because I learned something. Hopefully you guys have learned something, and it absolutely excites me for the future. And I appreciate you guys so much for staying with me on a Friday evening, no less. I love you guys. And with that, I'm gonna say goodbye and have a good weekend. Oh, Sunny Days is working. Say hi for me for sure, okay? And yeah, guys, have a great weekend. I'll see you back here on Monday. I'll be on Discord. Let's keep the conversation going. Maybe I'll clip this video and send it to some of these influencers. Let them know that we solved the problem for them. All right. Love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Happy Friday. Peace out, guys.